Porsche GTE. Brilliant car, that one. And MX-5 as we overtake it on pit exit, sparking all the way down. We have to see that again. Last time we asked the question, how fast can a modern Formula 1 overtake everything? We're on Road America in Max Verstappen's RB16B. We're now in 2022, and we've taken our search westward to the coastline of California, specifically to the legendary Laguna Seca, a track that has never before borne witness to a modern F1 race. 2022 led to one of the most substantial regulation changes in F1's history, moving a bulk of the overbody aerodynamics down to the underbody in the hopes of creating closer, more exciting racing. As a result, we've traded in Max's now championship-winning RB16B for his brand new RB18.
Holy Jesus.
Or as I like to call it, the slightly bouncy boy. The grid, once again, is filled with an assortment of just about all types of car imaginable, from classic road cars to rally cars, supercars, hypercars, all the way through to, yes, this time, an actual Indy car. In fact, the cars most likely to give the modern Formula 1 a run for its money are of course the Indy car, followed by the now legendary Porsche 919 Hybrid, putting out a whopping 900 brake horsepower at under 900 kilos of weight. This is followed by a Lotus 98T from the insanity-riddled days of late 80s Formula 1, or as I like to call them, the golden days of motorsport. In its unrestricted boost spec, this beast's engine produced over 1,000 brake horsepower at only 523 kilos of weight, giving it a 2-to-1 power-to-weight ratio, not only rendering it one of the most powerful F1 cars of all time, but also, undoubtedly, one of the most dangerous. Finally, this is followed by a Mazda 787B, the triple rotary engine monster that not only defined the Group C category, but went on to become the first ever Japanese car to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Confidence that we have an amazingly diverse grid packed in for this race, we grab our race helmet, settle into the cockpit of our modern marvel of automotive engineering, and take to the starting grid of the legendary Laguna Seca. As we take the car out of the paddock and through its formation lap, why not take to the subscribe button for future F1 races? The tyre warmers are off, the engines are on, and the lights are about to start counting down. And just like that, we're on the grid behind the wheel of our modern V6 hybrid Formula 1, the 919 behind us, the 98T behind it, a Mazda 787, and of course the mighty Indy car in second position. The lights are out, we go, we get a good start. The 919 actually gets a better start due to traction control, but there go our two open wheelers into the distance. The Formula 1 is gone, entering our first braking zone now, the Indy car closing rapidly behind us. When we get on the gas, it's all over. Those over 1,000 horses, that hybrid motor just leaving everybody behind. 919, it's holding onto the Indy car quite decently. But now, we're establishing some space as we porpoise all the way down the first straight. You can definitely tell this is an underbody aero-laden modern car. Now just downshift, hook it in. Tyres are still a little bit on the cool side. Needs about 2 laps of Laguna Seca in order to get them up to temp. Even with the tyre warmers, we can see the Indy car is just barely in sight back there as we hit the mighty corkscrew for the first time ever in a modern Formula 1. We don't even spark, we don't even bottom out on the way down. What a machine. So much downforce, but still a little bit of understeer here on lap 1 as we try and get the tyres warmed up, sparking all the way down towards the last corner of the Indy car, possibly the last time we're going to see it from our rear view. As we get across the line for one lap of Laguna Seca, that is just over 1 minute. 1 minute and 7 seconds on the first lap, and just over a minute now that we've got a running start. The question is, what is the first car that we're going to lap? Something tells me there could be a certain Japanese hairdresser mobile we could be rapidly approaching. This, of course, is a Lotus 98T, a classic Formula 1 car, as we move ahead a few decades back to our modern hybrid of Formula 1. Make our way around about halfway through Laguna Seca, already unbelievably fast, just like this MX-5. Absolutely monstrous run by the MX-5 there, basically toe-to-toe with our Formula 1. Who will win this race? It's anybody's game. Approaching rapidly in the Formula 1 2022. And like that, the MX-5 dream ends. before it even began. As we crossed the line for the third time, we have lapped the MX-5 before it even finished a single lap of Laguna Seca. Who would have seen that coming? Certainly not I. The question is, what's next? Who are our next takers? That looks to be a Maserati up there, one of the heavier four-wheel drives, and I think a Ford Escort. And a 22B, the two McRae boys. Of course, they're last on the line after shatter my childhood as I approach the BMW 1M. And that is both of my road cars, or similar enough to my road cars, taken care of. A little bit soul-crushing as we approach a Group A car, Shelby Cobra, led by Corvette C7, because of course it is, we're here in America. As we get to the corkscrew for the third time. And an Audi Quattro leading an Audi TT Cup car. It's interesting that the Cup car is actually quicker than the Quattro. We get some sparks and potential contact in the back there, but I think they're okay. Some minor contact. We get into the Porsche convoy as we almost rear-end that Performante, overtaking that convoy. We somehow have the Lamborghini, we have the Porsche Cup car and the GT4. How the Lambo got there is beyond me. As we cross for lap 4. Now, that's a Porsche 917K, one of the most beautiful race cars of all time, and don't look at how fast it's going. Really, that car always looks like it's going 1,000 miles per hour. That's how I want to remember it. It's a rapid pace here from the Formula 1 tyres, well in the window now. We've got lots of security about how we take these corners. Much like the MX-5. What a monstrous drive. With a 787B, a triple rotary monster approaching the MX-5 and amazingly overtakes it. I mean, there's really nothing between the two. The 98T doing what old turbocharged Formula 1 cars did, apparently watching a 919 almost murder itself on an inside sausage curve as it gets caught behind a 22B. And back to our Formula 1 to breathe a sigh of relief. Modern downforce, modern balance. Look at how it's surgical the way it goes through Laguna Seca. What's that we're approaching there? That is a GTE, one of the most beautiful sounding cars of all time, the 991 Porsche GTE. Brilliant car, that one. And MX-5 as we overtake it on pit exit, sparking all the way down. We have to see that again. From the MX-5's perspective, what a closing speed. That actually reminds me of a clip that's quite famous here on YouTube. Let's check it out.
They're not going to give up yet. Watch for the outside pass. He's going to go for it here, I think.
Oh, look at that! In the pit lane! What will the officials have to say about that?
The officials have to say that was freaking sick. History repeats, basically the same BOP between me and the MX-5. As we pass by an old Porsche GT1, the pinnacle of the GT class in the mid to late 90s, shows you the speed difference between that and the modern F1, doesn't it? There's really not much between the two, right? Halfway through lap 4 now, as it seems the Indy car's taking itself out. We almost understeer off the curb, caught us. We have to see that again. There was inches, mere inches there. Almost got taken out. Would someone yellow flag this damn race as we go past the Maserati one more time, and now we're crossing past the 787B as it really doesn't do its best line through the corkscrew there. See you later. And a bit of rattle as it sparks and goes off the track. Oh man, I gotta really watch out with these overtakes. They rattle people. Slowing down for the final corner. About to begin lap number 5. It is amazing how quickly this modern F1 just surgically cuts through Laguna Seca. As we approach the 1M, the spiritual predecessor to my road car, one more time just to crush the last bit of my dreams. I guess this car is better at going sideways than it is at going forward. Beautiful paint job there, as seen from our rear wing. Oh, as we go slightly wide onto the dirt, doesn't really matter. That modern downforce is keeping us pinned to the track, whether asphalt or dust. Looks like we're approaching that Group A convoy one more time. Shelby Cobra in the C7 holding everybody up. Are we going to dive on the inside? No, we think better of it. Would somebody yellow flag this race and get that Indy car off already, please? Corkscrew for the 5th time now, nice and neat. Not what I would expect in a modern F1, but there you go. That's just the power of modern aerodynamics and setups as we get to the Audi convoy. Now with the Lotus stuck behind it, and that's the Lotus's dream. Our 3rd fastest car, sans the Formula 1 as we get behind the GT4 Club Sport now. Cup car. And of course the Performante still leading that convoy due to sheer horsepower as I think we're about to approach the 919. And that's the 919 and MX-5's dream shattered for this race. Just over 6 laps to overtake one of everything here at Laguna Seca. Sans the IndyCar, which just kept murdering itself on that corner, no matter how many times we retook this race. So I think that calls for a rematch as we pass by the beautiful 917K for one final time. Let me know in the comments below where that rematch should take place. The MX-5 showcasing a monstrous masterclass of defensive driving here, truly something to be feared and admired even by Lewis Hamilton himself. So we're about to do our final lap here in the modern Formula 1. Don't think there's anything more left for us to overtake now that the 919 is out of the way and the mighty Lotus 98T as well, caught up by traffic both as we finish the race. And there we have it, just under 7 minutes, 6 and a tiny bit laps of Laguna Seca to overtake one of everything. Almost. If only the IndyCar didn't murder itself in the early laps. I think this calls for a rematch somewhere less hazardous. What say you? Let me know in the comments where I should take on the IndyCar again. On top of that, why don't we crank up the 919 hybrid to its 919 tribute spec, which you may remember as setting the ultimate lap record of the Nürburgring Nordschleife of all time. Between that and the IndyCar, the modern F1 should really have its work cut out. Make sure to hit that sub so you don't miss our rematch, and if you want to support the channel, why not grab some of the great FANATEC gear this video was recorded with using the links in the description below. While you're there, check out the amazing VRC Formula Alpha 2022 mod that made this entire video possible. Until next time, where our timeless MX-5 versus RB18 rivalry puts Verstappen versus Hamilton to shame, I'll see you all later.